Welcome to the Interviewing Skills Workshop brought to you by the Center for Career Exploration and Success at Miami University. Right now, our physical office location is closed, but during other semesters, you can find us in 0045 Armstrong Student Center, which is right underneath Cafe Lux. We are currently operating from 8 to 5, and you can still contact us via phone at 513-529-3831 or email at careercenter@miamioh.edu. This workshop will cover career clusters, important information about the basic interviewing skills requirement in our office, and preparation for different types of interviews, including behavioral interview questions. One thing we want you to take away from this workshop is to understand that major doesn't have to equal career. While your major is important, it isn't always the focus of what employers want to know about you. Your interviewers want to learn about your work-related experience, such as your accomplishments in your volunteer work, class projects, or clubs and organizations. They also want to hear about the work experience you gained in any internship or part-time job you may have had in college. There are different pathways to the same career and different careers you can pursue from one major. Miami uses career clusters to support this idea. We don't want you to limit yourself to just viewing career opportunities by major. These clusters will help you explore more career options of interest by attending career programs and events that target these clusters. You can select as many clusters as you want, but hopefully through your own research, coaching sessions with your career advisor, and attending career events, you will be able to narrow down your interests to identify a career cluster to use in your career planning goals. To select a career cluster, or 2 or 3, go to your Handshake profile and fill out the section in Career Interests. And while you are in Handshake, go ahead and schedule an appointment with your career advisor to talk further about career clusters or any other career-related questions you may have. Here we have a short list of reasonable accommodations that may be available to you if you think you need them. Please contact Wendy Taylor at taylorw7@miamioh.edu for more information. Okay, now let's dive deeper into learning more about interviewing. 2 solid strategies to use to prepare for an interview is to know what the employer is looking for and know yourself. On this slide are the top 10 skills employers are looking for. They are written communication skills, problem solving, ability to work on a team, initiative, analytical or quantitative reasoning, strong work ethic, verbal communication skills, leadership, detail-oriented, and technical skills. What are your competency levels and experience in regard to these skills? You should be prepared to answer questions about all these traits. You need to be able to say more than, "I have good communication skills." Explain what good communication skills means to you and give specific examples of how you can prove to have these skills. It is a very common mistake to speak in generalities when interviewing rather than showing this is something true about you. For example, I work to be detail-oriented by taking notes in meetings and asking for clarification. I also read my email communications multiple times before sending them out, and often will walk away from important ones to look at them again with fresh eyes. You should always be familiar with the company you are interviewing with. While you don't need to worry about small details and facts, you do need to make sure you know the company's mission, vision, values, and overall culture. What can you find out about their product or services and clients? What has happened to the company recently on a broader scale? Has there been downsizing, merging? You should also know about the area of the country the company is in and how that influences your salary expectations. As you can see, there are many different types of interviews, but right now, if you are in the middle of, or getting ready to start, interviewing for jobs, you will likely have a virtual interview instead of any face-to-face interview. But even during other times, many companies will use virtual interviewing at some point in the interviewing process. Oftentimes, it will be as a first-round interview to do a basic screening of applicants before putting more resources into final candidates. You may experience two types of video interviews. One is where you will be asked to record yourself answering preset questions, and the other is a live setting where you will video chat with an employer and answer questions more similar to a standard interview. Some companies may even use AI to analyze things like your body language and facial expressions. When you have a virtual interview, make sure to do the following things. Find a quiet place, preferably where you can shut the door and other people or pets or other distractions can't reach you. Dress professionally and make sure you consider what is behind your head on the screen. Make eye contact with the camera or the other person watching rather than yourself. On many platforms, you have the option of hiding the box where you can see yourself, so I recommend taking a peek at the beginning to ensure everything looks good and then hiding your view of yourself. Make sure you've checked all the technical issues like the software, internet connection, speakers, and microphone. I think people tend to talk faster when they are on some sort of recording like this, so check yourself as you are talking and slow down. Take time to notice little habits like swiveling in your chair, what your hands are doing, and how your tone of voice is. And last, but certainly not least, in the beginning of your interview, ask what you should do if you are disconnected. We have a great way for you to practice virtual interviews called Big Interview. On this platform, you practice answering interview questions, and it records you so you can play it back and critique yourself. It can also be sent into our office for review. I highly recommend you check this out and practice. It's a great resource that is free to you as a Miami student and normally would cost you money. We are also continuing our mock interview program by going virtual. You can sign up with our office to do a mock interview, and someone on our staff will meet with you to let you practice and then give you feedback on the spot. If you have an interview, I can almost guarantee there is going to be a behavioral interview component because research shows our past behavior is the best indicator of how we will perform in the future. The goal of these interview questions is to understand what you have done in the past. You can help the employer understand this by communicating your experiences in detail. A common mistake is to answer these types of questions with general statements rather than talking about one instance that will help prove what you are saying. There is a trick to answering these questions called the CAR method. This stands for context, action, and results. When you get a question along the lines of, "Tell me about a time when," you want to answer the question in 3 parts. First, set the stage. Tell your interviewer the basic information like who, what, where, when, and why. Then, tell your story, briefly. What did you do specifically in this situation, and how did you do it? I often see students leave out the piece about how they did it. And then finally, what happened as a result of your action? This part gets left off sometimes, giving you an incomplete answer. You want to close your answer with a satisfying ending to your story. And here's a tip from me. If your story doesn't have a satisfying ending, you should probably pick a different example. Another question you will almost always get is, "Tell me about yourself." And you guessed it, there is a right way to answer this question too. You want to keep everything on the topic of your career. You should also write out talking points for this answer and practice saying it. Otherwise, this question can derail quickly. Your talking points should include your Miami hello, what you are currently doing, and where you want to take your career. You are also likely to face a variety of open-ended questions about your abilities and areas of improvement. You can prepare for these questions by writing down different things you know you are good at and things you need to improve on. You should also consider constructive feedback and compliments you've received from others. Again, when answering these questions, you want to be as specific as you can and provide an example. And finally, once you've done all your preparation, you just need to stay calm and breathe. Make sure you know the time of your interview. This can get tricky with time zone differences, especially with so much remote work taking place right now. Make sure you listen to each question carefully and don't assume you know what they are going to ask you. Listen to the whole question and understand what they want to know. Watch the nonverbals of not only yourself, but those on the other end of the video call. What might they be trying to express to you? As someone who struggles with this next tip myself, I want you to understand that silence is not always bad. Usually, the interviewers are just writing notes or gathering their thoughts before the next question. You do not need to fill the space. Be honest and authentic and remain positive about your past experiences. Our tough situations usually have positive twists, even if it's just something we learned for the future. Like I mentioned before, if you really can't be positive about a particular experience, use a different one. And finally, you should always follow up on your interviews. Here's a template you can use if you need it. Essentially, this email should do 3 things. 1. Reflect briefly on your conversations by highlighting something you learned that you are excited about. 2. Confirm your interest in the position. And 3. Remind them of skills and experiences that make you a good fit for this job. This is also a great place to quickly mention something you forgot to say or didn't get to explain fully. The best way to do well in an interview is to practice. The amount of time you spend practicing for an interview should exceed the amount of time you spend in an interview. This slide provides a list of resources available for you to help prepare. The important piece of information here is to practice saying your answers out loud. Merely writing them down or saying them in your head is not the same as practicing by answering a question at random. For more information about our office, check us out on social media or our website and contact the office with any questions. Thank you.